Hello everyone. Today we will learn how to calculate the number of squares into a given figure. So most of you would have heard of seen this question into a lot of exams. It's a very common question to have been asked, and it's very easy if you know the trick, but if you don't know the trick then you may get stuck into this one. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with the easy approach. So we have this one, right? This is the I would say the most easiest one. So before it there would be just a single square, so I'm not considering that one. Okay, so in this one we have yeah yeah so in this one, if we let's assume that we don't know the trick, and let's try to count the square straightforward. So we have one square, then two, then three, and then we have four, and this complete one. So in total we have five, right? So if we had this one, I mean to say a complex one, we can still count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Then we have one this one. I mean, if we try to count the number of squares in this using this approach, then it would be very difficult to do. So let's quickly jump to the trick uh, to calculate the number of squares in this. So what is the trick? It's very straightforward. Let's calculate it for the simple one first. So here we can see the number of sides on the both side of the square are same. What I mean by that is the number of squares here, 1 and 2. So in this one, uh, the number of squares would be just the square of all these numbers, which would be 5. So what I mean here is, let's see, the number of sides here is 2, right? So we just have to sum all the numbers. We have to sum up the square of all the numbers up to this number. So the generic approach would be, if we have n sides, then the sum of number of squares would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 square of 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to n square. So this would be the formula for it. I hope you got it. Let's try to solve it for 3 by 3. So in 3 by 3, let's draw it. The number of sides that we have here is 1 2 3, 1 2 3, right? So here n is number of sides is 3, right? So we have to sum all the numbers up to 3, and I mean we have to sum the square of all the numbers up to 3, which is 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square. This would be 1 plus 4 plus 9, which is 14. So the number of squares into this figure is 14. Using this approach, we can solve it for any number of sides of the square. So we don't have to count it manually, because for easy figures we can even count it, but for complex figures we cannot calculate it. Okay, so let's assume that the number of sides on the squares are not even, like this. Please assume that this is a square. Now we have to count the number of squares in it. Please assume that these all are squares. I'm not very good with drawing, so anyway, uh, now the number of sides are 1 2 and 3. 1 2 3 and 4, right? Okay, so if the number of sides were equal, we could have just done the sum of the number square of all the numbers, but in this case uh, it's a little bit different. It's also easy, there is nothing difficult to solve here. So all we have to do is we have to multiply these numbers, like 4 into 3 plus 3 into 2 plus 2 into 1. That's it. So it would be 12, 6 and 2, which would be 20. That's it. It was also easy, right? Let's try to solve one more. Now this time I would ask you to pause the video and try to solve it at your end, so that you can see if you have learned it or not. Let's try to solve it for 5 by 3. We have this 1 2 3. Okay, so please try to solve it. Pause the video and try to solve it. Meanwhile, I'm just indexing the numbers here. Okay, so I hope that you have solved it yourself without going further. So the number of squares here would be 5 into 3 plus 5 into 3. These are the numbers which I took here. Then 4 into 2 and then 3 into 1. That's it. It would be 15, it would be 8, and this would be 3. So the answer is 15 plus 3 18, and 8 would be 26. So the answer is 26. I hope you have got it. Just to make sure that you are clear about how I calculated this logic, this one. So we have to pick these two numbers first, which were 5 into 3, right? You should be very clear that we have to sum all the numbers. But what would be these numbers? How to calculate these numbers? I am going through it again. So we have to just minus, keep -1 each time on the next step. So it would be 4, it would be 2, then it would be 3, it would be 1. As soon as we get 1 into any one of the number, we have to stop. So this is the easy to remember logic for it. So this is how we can calculate the number of squares into any given figure, and I hope that next time you show this question you will be able to solve this very quickly. Please let me know if you saw any complex figure which you are not able to solve the uh, calculate the number of squares. Please post it into the comments of this video. I will try to create a video on that or answer that onto that comment itself. Thank you. See you in the next video.